Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, this is our third lecture about chapter number 5, that is sharpening your classroom skills. In our previous lectures, we have talked about that what are our expectations from a student. How does a student behave? How should a student behave? And what a student can expect from us. Then in our second lecture, we have talked about an effective listener. Okay, an active listener is one who is involved in listening. Okay, pays attention to whatever is going on inside the classroom, takes notes, and when the student takes notes, he shows his commitment to studies. So your commitment, your active listening, your behavior inside the classroom, outside the classroom, all these things matter a lot. These are the skills that you need to develop in yourself. Our last lecture about this chapter is about engagement, that how you are going to engage yourself with your studies, with the people who are around you, with the topics that you are studying, with the books that you are going through. What kind of behavior now you are going to display in order to show your engagement with the learners, with the society, with the books, and with the books. Now in this lecture we will talk about develop the skills that will help you speak, present and practice more confidently and effectively in group settings. We are social animals. We cannot live alone. We need to stay with the people. We need to understand their behavior and they need to understand us. Once we understand each other, we develop friendship with one another, with each other. So there are chances that we will be developing fast, we will be learning fast, and we will be achieving our goals efficiently and effectively. So let's talk about what Carol has to say about engagement. Engagement means active involvement. Students who are engaged in learning are busy, occupied and committed to their goals. So in chapter number 4, we have talked about goals, how you are supposed to set your goals, what kind of goals you can have, okay? And we have read that goals are SMART, meaning they are specific. Okay, they are measurable, they are reasonable, they are achievable. So when you are setting your goals, you will have to see that how much time you have got, and within that time how you are going to achieve your goals. And once you achieve your goals, you are a successful learner. And in order to achieve your goals, you will have to show your commitment, how you are playing your part in the classroom and outside the classroom, how you have created your schedule, daily schedule, weekly schedule, monthly schedule, how you are moving around with your schedule, okay? How much time you are devoting to your studies, to your family, to your friends, and how you are spending your life. Now here he has talked about engagement means that you are busy and occupied, but it does not mean that you are busy all the time, that you are occupied with the matter, with the topics that the teacher has discussed in the classroom all the time. No way. We need to live a healthy life. So it means that we will have to make commitment to the timetable that we have scheduled for us. Okay, so you need to divide your time, you need to spend your time with your family, with your friends, for entertainment, okay, and with, of course, your books as well. So you need to participate actively and confidently. So we have already read that you have to be active listener, you will have to take notes. Once you have taken notes, you need to sit with your class fellow, you need to see what he or she has written and what you have written. You need to understand and fill the gaps if something important is missing in your notes, but your class fellow has noted them down. So you need to copy, you need to understand, you need to discuss those notes after the class with your class fellows, or when you are home, okay, and you have some time for gupshup, for chit chat. So again, with your class fellow, while you are having gupshup or chit chat, you can talk about what has happened today, what the teacher has taught you today, and you can talk about the concepts, okay, which are not clear to you. You can ask questions and you can share your problems with that student, and that student can give you feedback, can discuss with you what is his or her understanding, and you can share what is your understanding. And in this way you can review your notes and you can generate a dialogue with the other person. So it means that you are very much active. But again, it should not mean that all the time you are talking about books. You are not spending time with your family. So this should not be the case. So you should divide your time, and according to the timetable, you should spend your time. Time is very important in one's life. Allow each person to contribute to the discussion. Take turns and don't interrupt. Yes. So when the teacher creates discussion in the classroom, you need to participate. What I have observed up till now, many students, okay, they do not participate. They are just sitting and listening, or sometimes their mind is not there. Physically they are in the classroom. We have already read that how we can cope with such type of problems, how we can avoid distractions, how we are supposed to sit in the classroom, what should be our posture, how we should behave, and how we should interact with the people. So active listeners are those, they participate in the discussions. They have made notes, they know what is clear to them and what is not clear to them, and something which is not clear to them, they raise hands and they participate in the discussion. While participating in the discussion, it should not be that everybody is talking at the same time. One person should speak at one time, and once he or she has completed, then you should wait for the teacher to answer, or teacher may nominate you or someone from your class fellows, okay, to answer this person. So then you can answer, okay. And while answering, again, we should not misbehave, we should not hurt the feelings and emotions of the other person, okay. So we should present our point of view in such a way that we are not hurting, okay. Yes, if you disagree, your language should be polite, your behavior should be polite, and you should say that this is what my understanding is, this is what I am saying, this is what I believe in, okay, and you can present your point of view. So take turns and don't interrupt. One person has finished, then you can start speaking. Next, question facts, argue the details, but do not take parts in personal attacks. Yes, this is very important. And do you remember we have already talked about fallacies, how to build up argument, and what kind of argument is a true argument, and what kind of argument is not an argument, okay. As in many of our talk shows that sometimes I do see when I go back home, okay, and our politicians, they are talking and generating discussion, and anchor persons are there, okay, and this is called in discourse, I am forgetting that name, one discourse is generated out of the other discourse, out of the sea of the other discourse. So they will play what this person has said in the morning, some clip, and then they will start their argument, and they will engage the other people also to participate in the argument. But when you are arguing, it should not be the case that question is something else and your argument is something else. And the same thing should not happen in paper too. When you are attempting a question paper, you should give the answer according to the demands of the question. It should not be that question the teacher has asked is something else and your answer is something else, and then later on you say that your result is not good, and you have written 3 or 5 pages, in the answer sheet. So if you write irrelevant, nobody is going to give you the marks. So your argument that you are going to build, it should be relevant. Okay, so it should not be like politicians. You ask them one question and they will give you the argument from something else, and they will start a blame game. So blame game should not be the case. And I have heard, when we as human beings and as colleagues, we sit together, okay, and we discuss different kinds of matters. So I have seen and observed that people, they bring fallacious, arguments. So it should not be the case. In academic writing, in academic setting, when you are arguing, you should be to the point. You should consider what the person has said, and then very politely and not in a hurting way, you should give a reply or a rebuttal. Okay, so we should take care of these things. So this shows that you are participating actively and confidently in the classroom. So then, question the facts, argue the details, but do not take part in personal attacks. This is what Carol is also saying. What is your time to share? When it is your time to share? Be precise and to the point, and do not monopolize the discussion. So when you are discussing something, it should not be that you try to take the time of all the other people. No way. You should present your point of view as briefly as you can, and let the other people say something about your argument. Either they will agree with you or they may disagree with you. So again, they will be adding something in the knowledge, they will be adding something in the discussion that we are having about a particular topic. Okay, so again, you should listen to their answer, okay, and wait what the teacher has to say now. So maybe teacher can also participate, and teacher can nominate the other person, okay. But of course, being a teacher, my job is to see that nobody is going to monopolize the whole situation, and you should also try not to monopolize the whole situation. If you are the group leader, keep the discussion focused. Yes, for example, I remember I was a language teacher also, and I used to hold different kind of discussions in the classroom. So I used to give them certain topics, and I used to divide my students into different groups. Let's say 4 to 5 students in one group, and then in this way 4 or 5 groups are created. For example, I still remember one activity that I used to do with my speaking skill learners, and it was the heading of the topic of this activity was a dilemma. It was an activity about a student who was studying abroad, okay, in the first world like UK or America. Of course, these countries are developed and they are quite different from us. So the student has got the degree, and now he is in dilemma. He has to decide whether to come back to his own homeland country and serve the country, or should he stay there. So then there were different points under these two different things, that either when he is supposed to stay in country X, that is the developed country, he has got these benefits and these disadvantages. For example, his family is not there, of course, and his country Y, let's say, needs money, okay, but his country is not well developed as well. So maybe his country may not offer him what the other country is offering him. So these were some of the points that these groups they had, and I always ask the students that you will be discussing one side of the topic and you will be generating your argument. So first of all, the job of the leader was to create consensus among the 4 or 5 students and let all the people participate. And since it is a second language classroom, I made sure that everybody is talking in English language, nobody is using Urdu language. So I used to go to each and every group to see that how they are talking, how they are behaving, how they are discussing. and I gave them 20 minutes and they made their notes, their points, and then I called each group to come here, and the group leader was there to take control of the whole group, okay, and then he is supposed to present his point of view in front of the people. And again, the rest of the students, they could argue with him, they could ask them questions, they could ask them questions in favor of country Y or country X, and in this way debate is generated in the classroom. But here some of the qualities of a group leader are discussed. Carroll says as a group leader, you should keep the discussion focused. Yes, this is very important. It should not happen that whatever your topic is, you go and discuss some other topic. Okay, so sometimes in lecture also we move away from the topic, but then after 5 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, we realize that we should not stray away from the topic that we are discussing. Or sometimes students, they also ask some irrelevant questions to us. Then it is the job of the teacher, okay, to keep them focused. So once they are focused, of course, they will remain engaged. They will show their commitment to the topic which is under discussion. And it shows that they are active listeners as well. Encourage everyone to contribute. In every group, there are some people, they participate actively, and there are some people, they remain passive. So job of the group leader is to engage everybody, to ask them questions, to see, okay, what they have to say. For example, I always try that when some of my students, they are not participating, I particularly go to them and I say, yes, what you have got to say about it. Say it. Don't keep it to yourself. Share. We are not here, okay, to say anything to you. So rather we should encourage the other person so that whatever is in their mind, they should share. And when somebody is sharing, we should, listen to that person, and we should appreciate that person so that he or she should also get confidence, which is very important. Encourage everyone to contribute and summarize the group's conclusion at the end of the discussion. As in my old lectures, at the end I summarize that whatever we have talked about. So any topic which is under discussion, the teacher should also make notes. It should not be the case that all the time teacher is talking and students are making notes. Teacher should also make notes and note down what these students have said, and then some of the good points that he has gathered or she has gathered, he can highlight them, he can talk about them, that this is what this student has said, and you can repeat that argument, that point of view, and student will feel very much confident in this way. So at the end there should be a summary of the whole discussion. And last point is, do your part to keep the group on track. Do not let the discussion degenerate into a social exchange. Yes, because in academic setting, everything that we are doing, it is purposeful. We have got a purpose. I am here because I have a purpose. The purpose was to share my ideas about sharpening your study skills, okay, in these lectures. Your purpose is to understand the knowledge that we have shared, okay, and then of course some related questions will be given in the question paper as well. So I think that is all for so far as this lecture is concerned. Now let me summarize. In our last lecture, lecture number 3, about this chapter, that is chapter number 5, we have talked about the skill that is called engagement, that how can students engage themselves in academic activities inside the classroom, outside the classroom, and the textbooks, okay, that you are supposed to read, because as a teacher my job is to engage you in different kinds of activities, engage you people in some reading material as well, okay. Some reading we can do inside the classroom, but most of the reading usually it is done outside the classroom at home. So I would say that engagement means active involvement, but of course remaining busy, occupied and committed to your goals. But it does not mean that all the time you are reading, all the time you are occupied with your books. Okay, I told you that you need to divide your time. You need to create your schedule and you should work according to your schedule. So far as this chapter is concerned, we have talked about 4 things. Pace. And before pace, there was academic honesty. We say honesty is the best policy, not only in university but outside the university too. Number 2, there should not be any kind of cheating. Number 3, in PACE we have read P stands for preparation, how much prepared you are for your class, and your behavior will show that whether you are prepared or not. The things that you are supposed to bring to the classroom, the books that you are supposed to bring to the classroom, whether you are regular, punctual or not, all these things matter a lot. Then we have talked about A stands for active listening, and we have talked about that how or when you are active listener and when you can be a passive listener. The difference between listening and hearing we have talked about, and some of the strategies that you can adopt to become active listeners. Then in C we have talked about commitment. Your commitment while you are listening to the lectures, how you are taking notes, how you are going to review them, how you are going to share your notes and reflect upon your notes. And lastly we have talked about engagement, that how you can engage yourself and what exactly is meant by engagement. So thank you very much. Inshallah, in our next lectures we will be talking about chapter number 6. Thank you very much.